Hi, this is Nifra Kefri, the Positive Vibes Artist. Welcome to my channel. I'm here today to show you how I have set up my bullet journal for 2022. This is a preliminary example, meaning that I don't have completed pages in here, but I'm going to show you my method of organizing so you can be sure not to leave anything out of your bullet journal that is important to you. First tools you need before you even start with a journal is something to write in, to take notes in. Everyone has different things that are important to them, different things that they prioritize for their journals, for their bullet journals. And so it's important to make a list of the things that are important to you. You know, some people read a lot, for example. So they may want to list the books that they want to read for the year, and they may want to have a separate list in their bullet journal for books that they actually completed that year. Same goes for movies and TV shows. You know, there's all sorts of things that people like to keep track of in their bullet journals. So what I did in particular for mine is I took notes. I have this older journal. This is something I bought at a book resale shop about maybe 10 years ago. So the pages are a little bit yellowed, but it's really decent paper, and I mainly use it now for note taking. So the first thing that I did, let me flip. Okay. I wrote down what my daily tasks are. These very much do not vary from day to day unless I get sick. So it includes things like, you know, I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I gotta let my dog Magic out to potty, and then I feed her. I shower and have my breakfast. You know, I unload the dishes or load them up. I do some laundry. I clean something, you know, and then there's a big gap here. That's because I go to work for the day. I'm an entrepreneur. I work from home. So I'll put in a couple of hours working on my business. I'll have lunch, play with the dog, and then go back to work. I left that out here. And then, you know, prep dinner and on for the evening. Now, this is daily tasks. Like I said, they don't vary. So typically I wouldn't put this in my bullet journal on every single daily entry, but I would put it like probably at the beginning of the month, just so I know what my routine was for the day for that month, because it might vary a little bit from month to month. You know, it depends on the season too. And then on the other page, I have business tasks and what I have to do for my business. So I list those tasks. And then I have daily creativity tasks because I run a spiritual-based business. That's my main source of income, but I'm also a professional artist, and that's kind of like basically my side hustle. So, which I would like to see grow. And so these are my tasks every day for my creativity. And then I have a couple of long-term projects I'm working on. I'm working on designing a tarot deck. And so that's what this is about. And then, yeah, that's it. So then what I did further, I looked at my day-to-day schedule and stuff that I do every week, no matter what. And I tried to map out about how long that it takes me. This way I could see if I could consistently get this stuff done in the morning before lunch. I could consistently get this stuff done in the afternoon, evenings, and so on. And then I broke it down, you know, the rest of the week. Now what I did over here is I just kind of had a brain dump, and I wrote down everything that I want to keep track of in my journal. Now I also have a couple of planners I'm going to be using for 2022. So some of this stuff is going to go into my planners. Like I have the tarot decks that I want to buy and the ones I actually buy. Same for books, TV shows, paints. I'm an avid watercolorist, and I'm addicted to handmade watercolor. So I order from a lot of handmade watercolor makers. So they go on that list, and on and on. And then I have, you know, the trackers I want to keep, goals, rating things, You know, my deck and art projects will go into the planner. I have a grimoire for my spell work, so that's a separate book altogether. Magic of I, that's my business planner for my business and keeping track of my orders and my clients and my online groups, blog posts, and updating my website. So all this was kind of, you know, percolating in my brain here. And then so I began to divide it up into whether it's going to go into my bullet journal, whether it's going to go into a planner, whether it's going to go into my grimoire. The grimoire was pretty easy because that I always have the same no matter what. And I've been keeping a grimoire now for about 20 years almost. So I already knew what was going to go into that. So what I did then is I went ahead and I used a book that I first got in 2013 going into 2014. This is by oh gosh, I'm butchering her name, but Leonie Dawson, and it's called 2014 Create Your Amazing Year Life and Biz Edition Workbook. Of course, now she probably has 2022 out, but I kept the 2014. I never filled it out, and I just go from year to year, and I will rewrite these prompts in my journal and use them. So I never did use this because I always keep a journal anyway. I usually don't work in workbooks when I get them, but I will transpose prompts from workbooks into my journals, which is what I did with this one. Because there's a lot of stuff in here I like and some of the stuff I don't use. So, you know, you pick and choose what works for you to include in your bullet journal. Self-care. This is a whole separate thing. I always keep a separate self-care journal just because self-care is so important to me. I'm a light worker. I do tarot readings. I do candle work for people. I do visionary artwork. All of that is spiritual work, and it can be very draining on a person. So self-care is extremely important to me. And I have a day-to-day Hobonichi, and I'm going to be using that most likely as my self-care journal. That's why you see Hobonichi written there. This is all the stuff that will go into that journal, which is going to be separate from my bullet journal. So this is basically all that I did. I wrote down, you know, I want to have monthly intentions. I want to have a section of what is my ideal daily routine as opposed to what's my actual daily routine, to see if I can work more toward my ideal. And then I want to have a monthly review at the end of each month. This is just more breaking down the self-care, kind of simplifying that. Stuff about my house, you know, how do I want my home to feel, goals, and a deep clean from room to room that I want to do a couple times a year. So that's what this kind of is. Okay, so what I did for the actual journal here, this is an Archer and Olive size A5 journal, and I have been using Archer and Olive since the business began. I really love their journals. I am an affiliate. If you ever want to order Archer and Olive journals, you can use Positive Vibes 10. Positive Vibes is all in caps, and that will save you 10%. And it'll give me a tiny commission, and I would appreciate your support. Again, that's Positive Vibes 10. So this is the journal that I chose for 2022 to be my day-to-day bullet journal. And so what I did, like I said, I don't have any pages finalized in here, but I took notes and I went over it in pencil. So you can kind of see that. Maybe, maybe not. But I put Post-it notes because I might rearrange it a little bit. I'm not sure. So I have everything I want on the page lightly in pencil, and then a Post-it note that repeats what I have written on the page in my notes there. So I can always erase this and take this Post-it note, move it on another page if I want to rearrange things. But this is basically going to be my 2022 cover page with a big 2022 on it, and probably some washi and stickers and stuff. Over on this side, I'm going to have my quote of the year and my word of the year. And sometimes I do 2 to 3 quotes. It depends. And sometimes I do 2 words. Again, it depends. Now on the next page, based upon prompts from Leonie Dawson's book, she starts off with a review of the previous year. So that's what the beginning of my journal is going to be. And she says, what beautiful lessons did you learn during 2013? Of course, for me, it's 2021. And so I put down at the top of this page, lessons learned in 2021. And then I'm going to list them. And then I'm going to have another section on here. What dreams came true in 2021? What did I let go of in 2021? What was I transformed by? And you know, that's a real big thing. So you're probably only going to list one thing under that, maybe two. And I'm proud of myself for, blah, blah, blah. And then some of these are probably going to leak on over to the next page, which is fine. And then I'm going to end it here with 2021 Rants and Gratitude. And I may not even include the rants. I only put that on there because Leonie Dawson has that in her workbook. And again, I typically don't include them just because, you know, I mean, why commit your complaints to writing? You know, if you're going to burn it afterward, that's different. And I have done that. I've done releasing spells where I've written stuff that I want to release from my life that I want to get rid of, and then I burnt the paper afterwards. But I don't really want to keep a permanent record of that stuff in my journal. So this would probably just be all gratitude, which, you know, is much more positive. It's a much better way to start off the year rather than ranting about what went wrong in the previous year. So the next page, this is interesting. This is, again, a page from Leonie Dawson's workbook that I have dog-eared here. It's called a completion circle. And what you do is you draw and design a circle, and then there are statements that you say. You place your hand in the circle, so the circle in your journal should be as large as your hand, pretty much. And you say, she has we breath, okay. We breath and give thanks for all that has passed. I always read that as we breathe. Okay, whatever. And we open up to the beautiful possibilities blossoming before us. We let go and breathe, releasing all that is old and no longer serves us. We radiate in light and joy. All is beautiful. All is well. So this is basically a beautiful affirmation you can use to start your year off. So I always have the completion circle in my journals. So it will be going on this page here. And then the next page, again, following Leonie's prompts, will be invoking 2022. Invoking means to call in, to call forth. And so it's what you wish to experience in 2022. How do you wish to feel in the next year? And what will you do to help yourself to feel that way? I think that's so important. And you can kind of talk a little bit about your health maybe, or maybe a little bit about self-care here. And again, what's written on here in pencil, I copied it over onto the Post-it note because, again, I may rearrange this a little bit. So the Post-it notes will allow me to do that, and then I'll go through here and erase what's on the page. Next, what I have is something that's really important. I give myself permission to ... in 2022. That, for me, tends to stay the same year to year. I give myself permission to be creative, to flex my creative muscles, to focus on my personal growth, my spirituality. You know, those are the things that are the most important to me. And then it says, this year I promise to myself I will ... You know, drink more water. That's always a big thing. Watch my weight. That's another one. You know, things that you know you need to do and that are important for you. And then another prompt here, 2022 will be the year I ... Whatever it is that you wish to accomplish. You can set that here to, you know, have your dreams. This year, I'd like to release ... something you may want to work on releasing. And you don't have to fill that in right away. You can just leave it blank and fill it in as the year goes on. Then over here are 2022 priorities. In other words, what's important to me. So basically things that I want to focus on. The next page, Affirmations Mottos. A lot of people confuse the two, and I've seen a lot of published books that also confuse the two. An affirmation is not a motto, and a motto is not an affirmation. They are two different things. Affirmations are always positive statements that typically begin with the words, I am. And you can, affirmations are statements you tell yourself that you wish to feel, or that you wish to experience, or that you wish to possess. I am happy. I am prosperous. I am successful. I am healthy. One that I used for health that was really effective, it took a year to kick in, but I used it every day with faith, was my knees are healthy, whole, and pain-free. I had a chronic 39-year knee problem. And the year I started using that affirmation, I started using it like in mid-2011. And in July of 2012, we went on a Mediterranean cruise that we saved 10 years for. My husband and I, my in-laws went, and they took our daughter and paid her way. So we all went together as one big family. And all this time I've been using my affirmation, and my knees were not healthy, whole, and pain-free, but I kept stating that my knees are healthy, whole, and pain-free. And this is just a little story to tell you how affirmations can work, because you never know what venue they will manifest through. And so it happens we get to Rome, which is where our cruise was going to begin out of. Well, not out of Rome, out of Setovici, but anyway, we were in Rome for 2 days on our own. The plan was to go to the Vatican, and see as much of Rome as possible in 2 days before we caught the boat for the cruise. And so our hotel happened to be right near the Basilica to St. Mary, and it's the first church dedicated to the Virgin Mary. And so my father-in-law was like, oh, we gotta go. And the thing is, my in-laws are not Catholic, and I couldn't understand why he was so anxious to go to this basilica. I was raised Catholic, and I really wanted to see it. But my knees were so badly swollen from the plane ride over. It was 7 hours, and my knees never do well with riding in a plane anyway, flying in a plane. So I was absolutely miserable. I couldn't bend either of my knees, and I had to walk the 3 blocks to the basilica. And then once we got there, it was all stairs to get inside. And I remember leaning on my daughter to get in there. She was 14 at the time. And we go in, and I knew that basilica had an icon to the Virgin Mary, and the belief was that St. Luke painted this portrait of her in life. That's not true. It was actually painted in early medieval times, but the belief is there. And beliefs of millions, they imbue objects with power. And as a spiritual person, I understand that concept. I understand how it works. And so I knew I had to find the icon in the basilica and ask her for a healing. So I went, I found it, and I did my best to kneel in front of it. The old Catholic in me, you must kneel when you're praying in church. I hadn't been in the church at that point since I was 14 years old, a Catholic church, since I was 14. And I was like around 50 or something like that when we went. And I prayed to her, and I asked for a healing, and I said, just make my knees be good for the trip, and once I get home, I don't care, I'll just deal. Like I always do. But I needed them to be good for the trip. I stood up, and I turned around to face my daughter, and she looks at me, she goes, Mom, look at your knees. And I looked down at my knees. The swelling was gone. They had been almost the size of softballs. I swear, like this big around. They were normal size, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And I took a few steps. There was no pain. There was no stiffness. It was like a spontaneous healing in that basilica. And I was just so amazed. And I said, in a louder voice than I intended, I said, oh, Mother Mary's healed me. My knees, they don't hurt anymore. every head in that church swiveled in my direction. And then before I could even walk away from the icon, there was a line of people forming in front of it. Like, if Mother Mary is handing out miracles, we're getting in line, you know? And my knees did not bother me the rest of that trip. I came home and my knees did not bother me for 5 years after that. So that affirmation really worked. And again, it's a positive statement. Usually begins with I am. Mine did not. That particular one was, my knees are healthy, whole, and pain-free. It's a positive statement. And that you also state it as though it's in present tense, as though it's happening right now. So that's how you use affirmations. Mottos, on the other hand, are just phrases and sayings that are important to you. You know, like from the John Lennon song, "Give peace a chance." You know, that's a good example. Another Beale example, "Let it be." You know, so mottos would go here. My affirmations are going to go here. And then about my body and how it feels. You know, how my body feels right now when I start this journal, and how I would like my body to feel this year, and then the current me, the future me. And then I have here how I spend my day, and I'll do that as a pie chart. And down here I'll have another pie chart of how I would like to spend my day. And then the same idea over here. I'll have my ideal morning routine and my ideal evening routine. So it's something I can aspire to throughout the year to get to that. And over here, again, from Leonie Dawson, is going to be my magical bag of tools that I can use for when I'm stressed out, for when I need to ground, when I need extra energy, or when I need a cleansing or clearing or self-comfort or healing. And so I would list the crystals I use, herbs, the type of tea blends I would use, my ritual bath recipe that I use would all go on these 2 pages. And then over here we have goals. And your goals are going to vary. You know, we all have different areas of our lives that are important to us. And so for me, my goals are going to be for my marriage and family, my health, my spirituality, my creativity, business and money, and then fun. So these 2 pages are going to be my goals for 2022 in each of those areas of my life. Now, what I'm going to do on these 2 pages, I call the Wheel of Balance. And what I do is I draw it out for the current year as this year is ending. So I tend to do this in December. And it's basically, it focuses on my wellness, so my health overall, my spirituality and personal growth, and my business and my family. And then I will draw those around the perimeter and have it come in, so they'll be forming these pie wedges to these different areas of life, and then I rate them within the wedges. And then I will do the same on this opposite page at the end of 2022, so I can look at how I've hopefully advanced and made things better. Okay, now we start with the year. And so I decided what I wanted to keep track of in each month. And so my January is going to start off with my tracker page. And I'm going to have, I have a rubber stamp. I should have brought it over here to show you for the video, and I didn't think to do that. I'm sorry, but it's a clear rubber stamp, and it's a set, and they come in with the day of the week, the first day of the month starting on Sunday, another one that starts on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So you pull out that particular one for that month and you plug it on there, put it on there for your tracker. I'm going to be tracking my sleep, my weight, what else? Exercise, water intake, and a couple of other things. I'm going to end up with 6 trackers on here, and then the rest of the page down here is going to be my intentions for the month. And these again they're kind of like affirmations, but not exactly. It's basically your wishes in various areas of your life. And for me, that'll be focusing on my well-being, work, and business, my marriage, my finances, spirituality, creativity, and health. Then what I did, so that I don't mess up the dates, I looked at the 2022 calendar and I wrote out, okay, these pages are going to go from January 3rd to January 9th. My weeklies always begin on a Monday, end on a Sunday. That's just how I do my week, because I'm an entrepreneur. I work from Monday through Friday. And for me, my week just naturally for me starts on a Monday. I mean, you may want to have a Sunday start, whatever. Everybody's different. And so that's for January 10th to the 16th and on. Now, at the end of the month, what I have here are my January reflections. And what I'm going to focus on for each month, and this spread will come at the end of each month, at the end of my weeklies for that month, will be my top accomplishments, personal growth, my biggest challenges, and how I can do better with those challenges for next month. Then the next page, I'm going to have a self-satisfaction score on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being lousy, 10 being awesome, and various areas of life I'm going to score each month. And right now I have written here self-care, my mood, diet, fitness, stress, productivity, life balance. And by life balance, that means between work and play. And I'll probably put a couple of other things on there too. And I'll put them out here, and I'll draw a rectangle with squares numbered 1 to 10 for each one of these on down. And I will do this at the end of each month. Then what I do, so this is now February. Every third month. Now remember back here, before I started the year off, I have my goals. And these are the goals. I'm going to write them all at once. I'm going to do them, sometime this month in December of 2021. Then every third month, so now we're looking at the end of March. What I'm doing is a 3-month reevaluation of my goals. I will restate my goals here in one column, and in the next column, notate, am I closer to the goal? Am I further away? Could I maybe change my approach? Maybe I need to break the goals down into smaller steps, whatever. And this way you can revise your goals as you go on throughout your year, so that you can more effectively reach those goals, by whatever your completion date is, whether it's the end of the year, whether it's by your birth date, what have you. And then I go into March reflections here, and then again, my self-satisfaction scoring will be here. And then basically it's the same throughout the year. Then I start with April with my trackers and my intentions, and then we go with the weeklies with April and May. And once we get to June, and you finish the weeklies for June, you'd have the goal, the reevaluation of goals, and then my June reflection, self-satisfaction score. We go on into July, and it's the same all the way through until the end of the year. Now, when I get to the end of the year, this is now December, I'll have my December reflections and the self-score, just like I have for every previous month. And then I'll do the goal reevaluation, but now it's going to be a 2-page spread, just like I had at the beginning of the year. And I'll go into each section there and evaluate how well I did on reaching those goals. And again, if I didn't do well, try to brainstorm to do things better for 2023, if I'm going to carry over any goals from 2022 into the following year. And then I have, what I'm going to do is, instead of putting my lessons and stuff in the beginning like I did with this one, which is what I have been doing, I want to start the switch and put that stuff in at the end of the previous year. Because again, I don't want to start a new bullet journal out by looking at lessons learned. I mean, to me, it's kind of like, lessons kind of imply these things may not have been so great to experience or whatever, and I just don't want to start my bullet journal out that way. It's a personal decision. So starting in 2023, my lessons will not begin the journal as they have. So I'm going to end my 2022 journal by going over my lessons learned, any rants I may have. Again, I may not even include that, like I said in the beginning, but it may be different if I put it at the end of a journal as opposed to the beginning. Things that I released, things I was transformed or changed by, or that added to my personal growth, and like courses I've taken and things like that. Things I'm proud of myself for, dreams that came true, how my body feels now. And this page I will then copy into my 2023 journal so that at the end of 2023, I can compare how my body felt at the beginning of 2023 to how it feels at the end of 2023. And then I'll have my current me, which will hopefully match my future me. That was back here somewhere. Let's see. Here we go. I have my current me at the start of 2022, my future me that I hope to achieve. Then here, I have my current me as I am at the end of 2022, and I'll copy that into the beginning of my 2023 journal. And then I have gratitude, which will be a 2-page spread. And then I have a couple of pages here that I'm going to use as an index to tell me where everything is previous. And that is how I'm going to organize my bullet journal for 2022. And in order to do this, in terms of tools that I used, again, you don't need to get your journal out right away. What you need to do is mind map, as I said, on scratch paper or in a different journal, everything in your routine. Like I said at the beginning, and then brain dump everything you want in your journal and then figure out how you're going to organize that. And that's it. So in order to do that, all you need is a pen or pencil, an eraser, some Post-it notes, and then you're good to go. I do really recommend Leonie Dawson's book. Now this edition has both her life workbook and her business workbook. The business workbook is for entrepreneurs. So, and she does, I believe she used to sell these separately. I don't know if she still does, but either way, it's a really good start to organizing your planner, your bullet journal for the following year. So that's all I have for you today. And I hope that you all have a lovely 2022. I will be back to show you how I will be decorating my pages. I have a couple of sets of washi tape from the washi tape shop that I will be using in my bullet journal. And yes, I'll be back at a later date to show you that, probably closer to the new year, but before the end of December. And if you'd like this video, I ask that you please give it a like and that you subscribe to my channel. It's a new channel. I am building it up. I also have a spiritual channel, and I will post that link below. So keep an eye out for that. And I thank you all for tuning in and wish you a wonderful day. This is Niffer Kefri, the Positive Vibes Artist.